My ex ruined our relationship and is continuing to pop up in my life. Firstly, I've really struggled to write this all down. Our friendship groups are so heavily intertwined, and so many people are involved now. I didn't even know where to start. So much has happened, and I'm doing a lot of work on myself after all of this. I, F26, started talking to my ex, J, M23, in February. We were in the same extended friendship group, and I was really worried about dating within the group. I already had an ex in the group, C, who I had dated 5 years ago before he met my friends through work in a small town, 2 years after we split. He had no idea they were my friends until about a year before a wedding we both attended. We're now on good terms after a lot of work, following a messy split where C cheated on me with his ex at a festival. We don't hang out or go for coffee, but we do chat and get along if we're both on a night out. From the offset, Jay pursued me and messaged me. Initially, I thought he was gay, but it turned out he wasn't. I finally agreed to a date after our mutual best friend, M, F23, pushed both of us to pursue our developing feelings. We had an amazing first date and talked all evening. We went on more dates, and the topic of intimacy started coming up more. I made it clear that I don't sleep with someone until a romantic connection is really established due to past trauma, which made it hard for me to connect after intimacy. He really understood and made me feel completely safe and relaxed with him about it. Our biggest disagreement was arguing over condiments and which ones are the best. He eats his fries dry, and that is truly abhorrent to me. As stupid as it was, it made me laugh, and it felt like dating my best friend because he was already my friend beforehand. When things started to progress, we finally slept together, and it was great. I didn't feel sick having him in my bed, and he was the first man to stay in my bed since my last boyfriend, who caused all my trauma. I told him everything, in more detail than I had with any of my friends, and he'd been so understanding and supportive about my issues and the commitment problems I'd faced after the severe trauma I experienced. We started planning further in advance for things. In May, we had 2 big date nights planned. One was a work event for him, and the other was an event with friends. My birthday was a few weeks before these events, at the beginning of May, and I'd asked if he wanted to join me and my friends for the day. I made it clear there was no pressure for him to come, but I thought he'd enjoy it since a lot of our mutual friends were coming, along with a couple of my friends from uni and childhood. He didn't even hesitate when he said yes. On our next date, he started making Christmas plans for me to spend time with his family. I ended up having a minor panic attack at planning so far ahead. It was mid-April at this point, and he stopped immediately once I said I wasn't ready to talk that far in advance. We'd agreed not to sleep with other people after the first time we were intimate, as we were both serious about our developing relationship, or so I thought. My birthday came and we had an amazing time, despite the little things that irritated me. He was over an hour late. The boys had gone to the pub while I went to brunch with the girls, and they all ended up trashed and incredibly late. After a few stern words, they eventually showed up. I had a bit of a wobble about being the center of attention, but Jay took me aside and talked me down from the incoming panic. We rejoined my friends at the pub, and he pulled me aside to talk about our future. He asked me to be his girlfriend, but I told him I wasn't quite ready for a label. We then agreed to complete exclusivity, basically committed without the official label according to Jay. After this, he spent the night chatting with my friends and told our married friends that he was serious about me and wanted to take care of me, something they relayed to me the next day out of happiness and excitement. All of my friends loved him and were so happy for us. He stayed the night, a routine that was becoming more common, and I loved spending time with him. My work colleagues were rooting for us too, as I'd been single for 3.5 years with little luck in dating. I was completely smitten with him and saw myself falling head over heels in love. During our evenings, we'd talk about our days, and he often expressed frustration with his friends. Some of his opinions were questionable, to say the least, and offensive at times. I called him out for the most part, but I'm ashamed to say I didn't make it clear enough that he shouldn't have said some of these things at all. He was going out of the country to a festival with the boys and M a few days after my birthday. I had no issues with this until M asked me how I was so chill with the situation. I trusted him completely until M mentioned my chill, which made me suspicious. When I asked for more details, she explained that his long-term bad blood ex, L, F23, and his ex-fling B, F24, were also going. He'd completely omitted this, but I didn't mention it to him. I started to get even more suspicious. During the week he was away, we went from speaking every day to no contact at all. I assumed he had no data, but he was viewing all my social media posts within 10 minutes of posting. I knew something was up, but I had no evidence. When they got back, I still heard nothing. M came over for dinner and proudly announced that nothing had happened while they were away. I didn't believe her. I knew something had happened, but I still had no proof. Finally, after a drink, I asked to speak to Jay. He called me, and I told him I knew everything, giving him the chance to tell me the truth. This was the biggest bluff of my life. He immediately confessed to sleeping with Elle while they were away, and even said, "I thought about you the whole time." Within 5 days of my birthday, he had cheated on me. He didn't even apologize, not even the typical, "I'm sorry I hurt your feelings" apology. After some insults hurled from my end, I ended it. I didn't cry until after the call ended. M was devastated. M had shared a hotel room with Elle and had lied about the night she'd spent with Jay. We had no idea if Elle knew about me, but she lived with one of Jay's friends, so we assumed she did, as Jay had told this friend about us. M stayed with me that night, and we called our married friends to let them know what had happened. I told them I wanted to stay away from Jay, but didn't want them to feel like they had to choose between us. Surprisingly, they all cut him off, saying they were appalled by his actions. Em and I spoke about it nonstop so I could piece my feelings together. He had made it clear during our breakup that the cheating was premeditated, and I couldn't understand why I deserved it. I'm not perfect, but I didn't think I deserved this. In the weeks that followed, I was encouraged to confront Elle for her part in it. I reached out to B, whom I knew through Jay, and she had heard through the grapevine what had happened. B and I met for brunch, and she just asked me what happened. I told her everything. B informed me that Elle had no idea about me, and I was so glad I hadn't confronted her. I had spoken badly about Elle behind her back, so I contacted her that night to apologize. She responded immediately, apologizing for the part she played and asking to meet up. Within a week, Elle and I went for dinner and drinks. She told me everything about that night, including the fact that Jay wasn't as intoxicated as he'd made out. He had used her grief over losing a parent to get close to her. He had done something similar to her when they dated the first time around. She explained that he had been telling her I was controlling, which is why he cheated. I had one burning question. After the breakup, I unpaused my dating apps and someone liked me using my late partner's name and photos of us from before he passed away. I was shaken to my core. Married friends thought Jay was behind the fake profile. I wasn't sure, but they were almost certain. I asked Elle if she thought he was capable of this, and she informed me something similar had happened after their breakup. This confirmed for her that Jay had done the same thing to her. I was devastated, but it ended up being a rather lovely evening where I felt more connected to my body. Elle and I are actually good friends now. Elle confronted Jay about his behavior, B cut him off, and we now hang out regularly. Jay tried to claim that we weren't together, so it wasn't cheating, but those who knew the truth knew. I just wanted to heal and move on. Recently, Jay was called out by Elle's housemate, who was angry at him for his conduct and told him so. Jay got upset and started sending out apologies. He sent one to M, saying he was scared and had been doing loads of personal growth. He sent one to Elle, apologizing for how he treated her. I, however, have yet to receive an apology. My married friends want apologies too, especially for how he lied on my birthday. While an apology wouldn't have changed anything for me, it might have given me closure. I don't really know why I'm sharing this, but I needed to get it out. It's been months of working on my self-worth and connecting with my friends. Time and friends are truly the best healers. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed our stories and would like to hear more, please consider subscribing to our channel. Your support helps us continue bringing you captivating tales and new content every week. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. We appreciate every one of you for being a part of our storytelling journey.